so today we're going to embark on our first ever 3D printable RC plane. This is the Eclipson Model T, and we decided to do the Model T because I was excited about the option of using some pontoons to fly it off the water, but it also comes with this, which allows you to install a couple of wheels, so we got those there as well. The vast majority of the pieces here are printed out of lightweight PLA, which is not something I've ever printed with before, and it's definitely a lot lighter than regular PLA, and you can see here it's a lot more flexible and the pieces are just way lighter. The pontoons here are printed out of regular PLA and they are just a single wall, but you can tell just by touching them that they're a lot more sturdy. You can also tell with the PLA parts here that they printed out almost perfectly. Take a look. You know, if we take a look inside there, that's looking pretty clean. However, if we look inside some of these lightweight PLA parts, the stringing is just absolutely ridiculous, and especially on these pontoon legs here, you can see there's a ton of lightweight PLA hanging around. It should be pretty easy to get off. I'm just going to take a little bit of light sandpaper, and I'm hoping that most of this stringing here on these wings too, you can see, hopefully that comes off. I did do a few test prints to try and figure out what the best settings were, and I think that's just generally what happens when you print with lightweight PLA, so hopefully I'm not too far off. Let's get started. unfortunately last night I was playing around and I was trying to get all of my servos working properly. A couple of them were reversed and I reversed the wrong channel. I reversed the channel 3, which is the one that I have my motor on, and like a total airplane noob, I had my prop on, and as soon as I did that, I went from 0 to 100% throttle immediately, flew across the room, smashed into my chair, and destroyed the landing gear, and broke the prop. So yeah, not too excited about that, but I'm gonna have some repairs to do this morning. Alright, here's our completed Eclipson Model T. You can see we've got some vinyl decals on the wing. I found the vinyl decals didn't actually stick all that well to a lightweight PLA, so I've had to glue a couple of them down. And a couple of them I just did paper decals, like these ones right here, and they seem to have worked out pretty well. For the cockpit here, I reprinted this instead of in lightweight PLA. I did it in just a regular black PLA, and it's a lot stiffer and I'm liking it better. One of the issues that I had right off the bat was that the landing gear support here was printed out of lightweight PLA and it started to bend quite a bit, so I've migrated to make that out of regular PLA and it seems to be working better. Once we can get it out there and confirm that it flies, we'll go ahead and put the water landing gear on it and try and give it a few runs over the lake. But for right now, I thought it was best just to try and fly it over dry land until we get a little bit more experience with it. Alright, so what happened? Well, we crashed obviously. Pushed the accelerator, we took off almost instantly. I tried to veer right after takeoff, but the plane had other ideas. Unfortunately, there was also a bit of a mix-up between myself and my lovely camera woman, so we didn't get it on video. But it was possibly the world's shortest flight anyways, so there really wasn't much to see. I think my major error was just not picking a good location for my very first flight. Up here in Canada, you're not allowed to fly an RC plane just pretty much anywhere you want. So I've been scouting around for a good location, and where I decided we'd go for our initial flight was halfway up a mountain over a clear cut. I liked the privacy of the location, but unfortunately, being on the side of a mountain, there was a wind coming up. It hit the plane, knocked it to the left when I wanted to go right, and threw it right into some bushes. Unfortunately, because of the location, because of the wind, I didn't get a chance to trim up the plane properly and make sure it was flying perfectly. But it did take off nice, and I think it would have flown great if I had chosen a better location. So I'm halfway through printing all my replacement parts right now, and I'm going to make a few changes next time. First of all, obviously I'm going to choose a better place. I'm going to choose a wide open field to do my test run so that if I do have an issue, I can land anywhere. I definitely want to have a chance to test everything out before I have to avoid any obstacles. Now here are some of the pieces from the new prints, and I've decided to use a different filament. So this plane here was all printed out of lightweight PLA. Lightweight PLA is great because, as the name says, it's really, really light. When printing this plane in lightweight PLA, you actually under extrude, so you turn your extrusion down to 55% of what it would normally be, and then the filament itself, as it heats up and comes out the nozzle, it gathers air into it and kind of foams up a bit to get your line thickness back up to 100%. So although it is extremely light though, it's also not that strong, and there's no way a store-bought trainer plane would have sustained anywhere near this amount of damage with just the little crash that I had. So you do have a choice of filaments when printing this. One would be PLA, so I've decided to print my fuselage pieces here in PLA. As you can see here, they're printing out pretty much perfectly. And then you can also print in PETG as well. So I'm going to print my wings out in PETG and we'll see which one we like better, the PLA or the PETG. I like the idea of PETG because it's a little bit more heat resistant than a PLA, but it's also a bit more flexible, so we'll have to see how that goes. One major difference I have noticed in printing with these filaments rather than the lightweight PLA is that I can't go nearly as fast. There's a print setting in the build guide that tells you to change the minimum layer time to 5 seconds, and I find that allows your printer to print just way too fast. So the default in Prusa Slicer is 15 seconds. So if I leave it at 15 seconds, it takes a lot longer for the print, but it does a much nicer job. and I'm getting great results so far. Now the third thing I'm going to do is just a bit better job on construction. Instead of just putting all the pieces together and making them fit really nice, I'm going to make sure they're all aligned really well. I did notice on my last plane it wasn't perfectly straight, and so that's something I'm definitely going to change, and having these PLA and PETG printed pieces that are printing out perfectly is going to allow me to have that perfect alignment as well. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video or found it useful in some way. If you did, please consider giving this video a like or subscribing to our channel. It really helps me out. Also, check out our website at www.rcprinter.com for cool ideas of 3D printed projects like this to build. We got kits to build them, parts to build them, and instructions as well. I also hope to have kits for the Eclipson trainer planes, like the Model T here, available on our website within the next month or two. So stay tuned for that and take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.